I think
My
you just want to make sure that you know that courage is required this time of year. You have to face things like the broken branches, and this is a hawthorn. So it's not only broken branches, but you've got to get your body into the middle of all those thorns to get those branches out
Yeah.
there. This is Jean's arborvitae that split badly, and just take that trunk all the way down to where it comes from, and let it come back from better wood.
Yeah.
Take a look at what you have after you take out the dead wood. Take it out, take it out, take it out. Don't worry about what it looks like until you've got all the dead and broken stuff out. Then you can decide what's up. And it's amazing what they will grow back from those leaves that are
A little bit of green.
Yeah. Gotta have courage. Ruth asked me for some help in sorting out her multi-stem serviceberry after I said, there's multi-stem trees, they just end up being trouble in the long run. So it was a wet day, so we tagged the branches to take out and took them out. We're taking out trunks that started on one side and crossed back over to the other side, taking out trunks that had primarily branches that did nothing but cross in among other branches, and took out trunks that were just plain going to get squeezed out by the bigger trunks as they grew.
Yeah.
And it makes it a nicer looking plant. But you gotta be brave. You gotta be brave to have Kay say, the boxwood are too big. Can I cut them down? Yes, you can cut them down. And yes, they grow back. I can only remember her last name. Ms. Dersch took me at my word. She trusted me and cut down all the boxwood that had overgrown in her formal garden. You can see the stems and how they're coming back.
Yeah. Way to go.
Once you do it, once you're brave one time with boxwood or some of these other plants, then you can say, okay, it's spring. I'm going to prune the boxwood hedge. I'm just going to reach in. You can probably see the openings. I'm taking each one of those tall pieces that's sticking up like an antenna that's becoming dominant. I'm reaching down that branch and cutting it down inside the shrub. That's all I did. Just took those out. I didn't shape them. And now those will grow fine for a year, maybe more than a year before they get dominant stems coming out again. That's all I'm taking out are those pieces that were becoming dominant. You can see on this one right here that it's a clump. I took out a clump. They look nice. But don't do it when it's wet. I had to leave all of this because it started raining. Don't do it when it's wet.
Yeah.
Jean asks about cutting back smoke tree. She said, could I just cut this all the way back? Yes, Jean, this is we just showed you at Longwood. This is their smoke bush, smoke tree, cut back, ready to grow for the year. Here's one at a client's yard that we took care of. I've cut it back there on the left. 3 weeks later, there it is. And 4 weeks after that, there it is. Come back. The same person, poor Jean, is fighting SOB, Star of Bethlehem. A weed that gets into everything. And she says it's in with the hostas and others, and I don't want to disturb the other plants. The bad news is you have to disturb the other plants
to get this one out.
All of that fine foliage in there is Star of Bethlehem, and it's mixed right in with the squill foliage and with the iris roots. And the only way to get that cleaned out is to take the plants out and so separate them or kill everything in there, smother everything, kill everything.
Start again.
Those are fortunately, the bulbs are pretty identifiable, but unfortunately, they make little tiny bulbs that break off and stay.
Those get.
And their leaf looks a lot like crocus. There's a crocus. Can you point for me, Steve? Because I can't.
Crocus.
That's a crocus with that chestnut brown round form, and its leaf looks just like it. So you have to say to yourself also, I can't grow anything that looks like the weed I'm trying to get out.
Yeah.
And it means the crocuses have to get shifted to someplace else or forego growing crocus for a while. I've checked with, and I'm waiting for an answer from our intrepid niece who took on 800 square feet of Star of Bethlehem thick.
Yeah.
And find out how the war is going there. Because if you have only 20 square feet of Star of Bethlehem, it's nothing like 800 square feet of it.
No, 800 square feet might be a year.
Yeah. So
I thought I would actually pop on. I'm actually literally in professor mode today. It's our spring campus day where we talk to prospective students.
in
So
your office,
I need I need to go, but there are 3 questions that are on deck from Colleen, Diane, and Anne. So I'm going to drop them into the chat. So they're right there at the bottom of the chat. And I'm going to go talk to high school students and their parents about why studying English literature is worthwhile. Take care, everyone.
You
Thank
go,
you,
girl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oops.
Any advice for pruning kerria? If you want kerria, which is beautiful green twigs and yellow flowers early in the summer, if you want kerria to look its best, then every year take out old wood. Just go into the bottom of the plant, just crawl down,
Yep.
get down on your knees, go down to the bottom, and any stem that's beginning to lose the shiny green,
Get more
just
brown.
clip it
Yeah.
at the base and
Yep.
take it out. The stems that were there and that grew all last year will still bloom this year. And you'll keep new stuff coming in
If
there.
you do that all the time, you'll keep that shrub going.
Alternatively, you can let it grow for 3 or 4 years and then mow the whole thing.
Cut it down.
Let it
Yep.
grow back up. You'll lose the bloom that year, but they'll bloom again afterwards and you'll have all green twigs. Diane says, my daughter has a lovely Japanese maple with dense branches. Should it be thinned out now to get some air around the branches? It might need to be thinned out. Japanese maples, many of them are bushy little plants.
Yeah.
If you want it to look like a tree, and that's what we often do, one that
you
we
need
showed
to-
you a couple weeks ago was one that looked too bushy, and so we made
Yeah.
it back into a tree by opening it up. There are not a lot of leaf diseases that Japanese maples get, so it's not like the leaves are going to get mildew or get leaf spot on them from being too thick. It's more a matter of the aesthetic look of the tree that you prune it. And Anne wants to know the best way to get rid of Schizandra vine taking over the church garden under and over other plants. Schizandra vine. I am not aware, Anne, you might have to send us a picture or a Schizandra vine. That sounds vaguely familiar, like it's part
Is
of
it that's other hydrangea? Remember there's one that looks like a climbing hydrangea that's a S.
yeah, it could be, but I am
But
not
it's
sure. Anytime there are vines taking over, though, we have to trace them back to where they're coming from. And quite often they're coming from a lot line, they're from a fence line, they're from and the roots keep coming back from that place.
Well, it could be Pachysandra.
No, it's a vine. It's a
Oh.
vine. Anne knows a vine.
Over, under, and over other
Um,
plants. Okay.
yeah. Magnolia vine. I don't know Schizandra. Guys, I'm sorry, I'll have to look that one up. But I do know that vines, because of the way they grow, if I don't get out that main cluster, which is generating all of the running roots that are popping back up, it's not going to be gone. At the Detroit Zoo, we had a lot of grapevine that had established itself right along the edge of a concrete abutment.
Yeah.
And we could chase it right back to there. We could chop at the roots, but it took us about 3 years of starving it out, all the shoots before we could get rid of it.
We've been stumped before.
Oh, yeah.
Many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, there is that other one. What the heck is that one called? The other, but
I don't,
Schizophragma is the other climbing hydrangea. Schizophragma, not Schizandra. I think there is something. We'll look into that one and we'll have to let you know, Ian. Sorry. I guess you won't be able to get rid of it this week.
no.
It's been good talking to you, and I think we're done with our prepared material here. Our friends are in Iceland and sent a cup. They said, "Look, Steve, they got your picture all over the place up here."
I don't know if that looks like me.
They last saw you when you were in your Santa.
Santa, we're
Yeah.
big a beard.
So that's it for in our gardens in late March. Thanks for all your questions. Next Saturday, we're going to be getting ahead with a garden journal. And any questions that you want to bring. If
Yeah.
you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. This is
Yeah.
what keeps our webinar, our website going. And you can send your questions in advance and photos like people have done
Next
here.
day. Oops.
Oops, sorry, I didn't change this last panel. Pay no attention
Yeah.
to the man behind that screen.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for being here, and we will see you in the spring.
Take care, everybody. Have a great day.